Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Unspoken Truth podcast, where the mission is to hear the story, to have the margarita conversation instead of the Diet Coke one, and to share the amazingness and superpower of every woman that comes on the podcast. My name is Paige Brown, certified leadership and shadow work coach, nationally certified counselor with over 16 years of experience in shadow work and self-sabotage. Today, I'm joined by Trisha, who's an amazing badass. I'm going to say badass because she is. She's got 15 years of experience in the health space. I think personally, I told her this before we started recording, that I think she's redefining the way women over 40 view exercise. She rides motorcycles. She's just like this awesome woman. And so when she said she would be on my podcast, I knew, I was like, I have to hear her story. So, welcome. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. It's so exciting to be here.
Yeah, excited. So you just recently made a move to North Carolina.
Yes.
What prompted that?
I was feeling really stuck in my life and stuck in my business, and I knew that I was never going to move forward unless I actually moved my whole self. So I did.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing I ever did. I moved to a town I'd never been to, and it's just been one great thing after another. It's just incredible.
Yeah, and I've been following you on Facebook, I would say forever. This is our first conversation that we've had in person, I would say. Like, I've literally, I feel like we said this, I feel like I know her because I've stalked her on Facebook all the time.
I feel like I
and
know
so
you.
I sort of seen like the roller coaster, the roller coaster of your work journey and your life journey and all of these things. So when you said you moved to North Carolina, I was like, oh my gosh. And I was just so excited for you. But I think too, as a fitness instructor, you can appreciate like the fact that physically relocating somewhere and physically moving somewhere can just really change the way a person is like showing up in the world. And I think sometimes it's not just movement. It's not just about movement at the gym. It sometimes is like a physical relocation to just change somebody's mood and to enlighten them. But tell me more about like how this move's changed the way you're showing up in your business.
Oh, well, first of all, on the advice of a friend, I chose a town specifically that had a lot of middle-aged women. So I'm in a town of a lot of retirees, very wealthy. There's 600 horse farms in the town that I live in. And I wanted to work with that demographic, so I went where my client base already is instead of trying to dig them out of the woodwork.
Makes it easier.
Yeah, and then starting a new studio just from the ground up, just being able to make it exactly the way I wanted it to be. It's very pink. It's really sparkly. It's incredibly clean. I keep it incredibly clean. Everything's new. So women feel a little pampered. They feel special. And they feel safe in there because we do gym rat stuff in a pink, shiny environment. So
I love that.
yeah, I made it really comfortable for old ladies to do, squats and deadlifts. But
Yeah. And that's the best part. So, I told Trisha before we started recording that I hear her in my head when I start to work out. So, because I'm 41, so I just went over to, I would say the back half, I would say, of my life, what people say. And I really think that you tend to poke the bear sometimes, I feel like, with workouts with people.
yes.
And, I love that. Like, how did you come up with this entire, I know that there's science behind it. I know that. But like
Yes.
it's like you have a personal mission. Like I see you showing up all the
Yes.
time and you're like, this is my mission in life. So how did you like why this demographic? Why do you coach the way you coach? What is your fuel, I guess?
Well, I coach women like myself, and I care so deeply about women, and I want them to live their very best life. And one of the greatest thing that it could kill women over 50 is falling down and breaking something, is being weak. And so I feel like it is my mission to help women get strong so that they can enjoy the second half of their life after they've raised their kids and after they've sacrificed themselves for their job or whatever it is, whatever they've been doing. It's like, this is really your time now. to get strong and enjoy the second half of your life. So I just feel I've always been a rebel. So
Yeah.
I've always been like this. It somehow it just all matched up to this
Yeah.
perfect storm.
Do you have like a background of like personal, like a personal story of what like motivated you to really like see, like, my, I guess my question is, have you witnessed, you know, the struggle that women have in your personal life?
Oh, yes. I mean, I got into fitness when I was getting divorced, and I'd never worked out a day in my life, and it saved me completely. And that's how I started. And then when I opened a gym in Vermont that I owned for 6 years, and the amount, and it was, we did large group training. We did what we do now, but we did it in groups of 25. And the transformations that I saw women go through was just so incredibly powerful. And I don't mean that they lost weight and got strong. I mean the inner transformations, how they felt strong and self-reliant and good about themselves and powerful and able to make decisions for themselves in their life, and the community that it created among all of us. It was just so powerful. Huge, huge fuel. Um, and then really I got another sort of huge shot in the arm when I hit menopause, and had a really incredibly rough time with it. And going through that and having to do the research for myself and having to find solutions for myself, I realized how underserved women are, how they've been manipulated, how there's so much fear mongering, and how lost women are in that transitional phase, and how they are in so much need of accurate information. And that sort of all lined up with what I was doing already. So it actually gave me more fuel and energy to do what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I love that because, you know, I'm all about the internal transformations. So I
Again,
see
I'm sure
that so
yeah,
much. I see it so
it's
much. And
huge.
it's, I work with a lot of people who are also on a fitness journey, right? Like, you know, because um, it's not just about like the physicality, right? Like, oh, you looking better, you feeling better physically. It's like you have to heal all those pieces inside of you too. And there are so many women that I've worked with that, you know, they struggled with weight loss when they were a kid, or they were told certain things. And it's like that can be the thing that prevents them from leveling up in their fitness, you know? So, you know, I've worked with a lot of fitness coaches who've referred me to clients that are just not, you know, moving past all of this stuff in their head. And it's so huge to see the two work together. Like, I think it's just
It
such a
is.
beautiful thing. And you know, menopause, I'm approaching that age, you know, in the near future. And you're right. I think there's so much information we don't have as women. Like, I was actually having this conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and she's like, "Why do people not tell us this stuff? Like,
No.
why do people like hide it from us that we're tired,
Right.
and we, even if we sleep 12 hours, we're still tired, like all this
Yeah.
stuff." And she's a little bit older than me, and she was like, she just hit 50, so we're roughly 10 years apart. And so she's telling me, I was like, could you tell me all the things? Like, can you
Right.
be my
Exactly.
Yoda in the
Yeah. Yeah.
menopause?
Exactly.
Because I don't know. And I think it's funny that we become so ashamed of talking about certain things that we're struggling with in life. And that's like fitness, right? Like, oh, I go to the gym to lose weight and I'm working out and I'm struggling with, you know, we don't talk about that stuff unless we're with our gym people. It's like, oh, because they understand it. We don't talk about like the menopause stuff unless we're with like the other, like, you know, late 40, early 50-year-olds that are also going through it, because we're ashamed of all these things that are just completely natural things that we're supposed to be going through. And I know that the menopausal, just not for me personally, but I know that, like, because my friends talk about it, the workouts that they have to do have drastically changed because of their hormone imbalances, because of like cortisol levels, even because of like their endurance levels are shifting once they hit like 50. And it's just absolutely insane, like the amount of struggle that they have mentally, because they're like, I used to be able to do this thing and now I can't do this thing, and this is absolutely ridiculous. And so if you guys, I know that at the end I'm gonna let we're gonna share out when I publish this also, your Facebook page and whatever channels that you want us to follow you on, because her workouts are insane. And I
Really?
I have tried. I know that they're not scary, but like for when you traditionally think of somebody who's in the menopausal range, right? You're like thinking, "Oh no, don't do that," cuz that's
Right.
like the stereotype, right?
Right.
And she's sitting here doing box jumps and all these other and I'm just like, that even terrifies me, and I'm 40. That I can't, but you can. And I think that that's like the thing of like, we always keep thinking like we can't do something, but we can do it, and we are capable of it, and we can be in sometimes, I think, the best shape of our life when we're in our later years, and we should
Absolutely.
be.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I actually don't know how old you are. I don't know if you want to
I'm
share
almost
that.
60.
Okay, you don't look 60.
Yeah.
Like you don't.
I don't act 60.
No, you don't, and you don't do. I mean, like I said, motorcycle stuff. And I absolutely love all the aspects of your trainings and stuff like that, because yeah, she's almost 60 and she's doing box jumps and she's lifting heavy and she's doing these things that I feel like women need to hear, like that this is okay to do. Like you can build muscle and not look like a man. I feel like that's a
Absolutely.
big one that a
That
lot
is
of people
yes.
struggle with.
That is a huge one. There are, there's several things that keep women from lifting heavy. One of them is I'm afraid I'm going to bulk up. I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt. So obviously, I have a client right now who's 72. She's doing back squats now, but she didn't do back squats, and back squats are pretty serious business.
Mm-hmm.
And she didn't do deadlifts right when she started. We started with dumbbells and we progressed along, but I never doubted for 1 second that she was going to get to where she's at. I mean, and being able to do barbell squats with, she's probably doing, I don't know, a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, probably doing 100 pounds or something. She's
Yeah.
72. What that's doing for her body, I can't even begin to explain the benefits of that. Just that in and of itself, let alone the self-esteem that it's given her. So where did this start? I'm going off on a tangent. Oh, so the myths about lifting weights, they're going to get hurt. Now, 50% of women after menopause fall down and break something. 30% of those women never recover. The greatest danger to us, because we lose our hormones and don't replace them because we've been scared of that, and we don't lift weights and we don't eat enough protein, we lose our muscle mass, we lose our bone density, we fall down, we break things, and then it's over. And
Yeah.
and that's what I am trying to prevent. So it's not that you'll get hurt if you do it, it's that you get hurt if you don't. And that's
Yeah.
sort of
And
part of my message. And you don't start out with, leg pressing 500 pounds. Not that I can, but you start slow, but you progress, and you're able to get into that heavy, heavy range where you're doing 4 to 6 reps and you're freaking done because it was really heavy.
yeah.
That's how you build bone density. That's how you build muscle. Not these 2 pound weights and not this old lady stuff. And
No.
then, there's the myth I'm going to get bulky. There's the myth I'm going to get hurt. There's this other thing that I think a lot of women, younger women, are trapped by, this whole idea that we have to be cardioing ourselves to death in order
Yeah.
to be skinny. So, I had this one client, she finally quit because I kept telling her, stop beach bodying it. I'm like, there's a day to do beach body. I love beach body. There's a day to do crazy insanity workouts and jump up and down. I love doing that. I'll never stop doing that.
Yeah.
That's not what we're doing here. Stop it. She was so
Yeah.
scared to stop and be still. She thought she was going to gain 5 pounds in 5 minutes just from standing there. We're so conditioned that we have to cardio ourselves into the freaking ground in order to not be fat. It's just, so that's another problem with lifting weights, is it's very slow. Pick it up, put it down, take a rest. So for a lot of women, that's hard too. So there's a lot, and it's intimidating because you don't know what to do. You walk into the gym, there's all these gym bros there who are actually very friendly and willing to help you, but it's intimidating as a woman. You feel like everybody's
Mm-hmm.
looking at you, you feel like you don't know what to do, you feel awkward. So there's a lot of barriers to doing this, and I feel like I'm just trying to knock down all those barriers.
Yeah, and I think you're doing it in at least the people that follow you, for example, I think you're doing it in a very successful way, because it's sort of like you need that group mentality of like, we can all do this together. And I think if you're
Yes.
creating that space where women can come in, like you said, like in shiny pink
Yes, exactly.
pinkness, and it's not like a grunting gym bro beside you. Because I've belonged to a lot of gyms over my life. I mean, I was in sports. I was always going to gyms, and that gym bro is always there. There's somebody that's always there that's grunting or
I
doing
freaking
something
love those guys.
crazy.
They'll be your best friends too. I swear they
Oh,
really
I
will.
know.
And they'll totally help you.
They
You'd
are
be like, what are
amazing.
you
They are
doing? Yeah,
literally amazing people,
they
but you
are.
get so intimidated by them because they're sitting there next to you, like, lifting something crazy heavy, and you're
And
like,
they're
oh my
huge
gosh.
and they're
And
sweating.
they look kind of like the Rock, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like massive. But like literally, I was working out at, I think it was like One Life one of the days, like this was years ago, and I had a gym bro next to me. My husband was doing something. We used to split up our workouts, and he was next to me, but I was trying a new weight on a bar, and I couldn't get it up. Like, it was just like, and he, like, without feeling, like, just jumped over and helped me, and it's like the
Yep.
nicest thing. But I
Yeah.
grew up in gyms, and so, like, I think for a lot of
That's
women,
different.
we just
Yeah.
didn't do that. We didn't grow up in gyms, so I never really
Mm-mm.
felt the super intimidating factor of walking into a gym, because I was in gyms since I think I was like probably 12 years old, because I
And
was in
that's very
sports.
rare. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very rare.
And I wasn't even an Olympic athlete. Like, I was like not even in that category. But it is very rare. And I did take a pause for a while. So coming back to it, it felt like I took a pause when I was in my 20s, early 20s. So coming back to it felt a little weird, but it also kind of felt like coming back home. And I think that there's a lot of women like you probably that never work. You said you left, you got a divorce. That was the first time you really were working out.
Yeah.
So like, why? Okay, so you use that as like almost like a coping mechanism, but
It
why do you
was,
feel like
yeah.
you were drawn to that, like, for after your divorce?
Well, it was during my divorce where I was just so blindsided by the whole thing. I had so much adrenaline. I was just running and running and running, and somebody told me about a boot camp. I went to the boot camp. I'd never done any workout stuff ever. I was a stay-at-home, I was a very roly-poly, hippie stay-at-home mom. I had no idea what any of this stuff was. And I did one workout, and I was just like, I am in love with this. Well, I mean, I have to say, I was a cheerleader in high school, and it shows because I still love jumping up and down. But just like the push-ups and the squats and all that stuff, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I just loved it, and I loved the community, and I loved how it changed me. I cried a lot. A lot of the exercises we did would trigger like emotional release for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I loved it. I knew it was my thing after
Yeah.
like 2 weeks. um,
It's so cool. Like, I
yeah.
think too, especially in the emotional triggers, like, I think a lot of people have emotional connections to yoga. Like, I hear that all the time, right? Like, people
Oh
really
yeah.
grow a lot in yoga.
Oh yeah.
And I think yoga is definitely a great place, because yoga, I mean, if you're doing heavy lifting, it's a great place to stretch all your muscles and things like that. But I think that there is something also, like, we cardio ourselves to death, but we also do low impact to death. And I'm
Yeah.
like, there's a place for yoga, but there's also a place for being in that aggressive, you know, and I use aggressive not in a bad way, but like in a way that you're gonna like push yourself a little
Yeah. You got
further than you think you can,
you.
you know.
It's very funny about. I had done this. I become part of this P90X community, and I was trying out for these teacher tapes.
Yeah.
They were tapes back then. It was a long time ago. So we flew out to California for these auditions, and Tony Horton was talking, the guy who created P90X, and he asked everybody who did yoga and who meditated, and like nobody did.
Yeah.
And he just like he went on a rampage, and he was like, he's like, if you're not doing yoga and you're not meditating, you're missing the point. So I was like, damn. Okay, so I came back to my little town, and I was like, I guess I got to do yoga, and I hated it because I had to sit still in a room for like an hour. And so the person let me sit by the door, and I would do a little bit. I would leave. I would go out and breathe because I was having panic attacks because I couldn't stand being in that room all closed up with all those people for so long.
Oh yeah, no.
But I was like, Tony Horton told me, Tony Horton, he told me to do it. He told me to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I forced myself to acclimate to calming down. And I found that I really liked it. And one day the instructor said to me, she said, The only thing I have to say to you is don't go to Peter's class. I was like, oh, yeah? So, of course, what do you think I did?
You went to Peter's
I
class?
marched right over, found Peter, and I went to Peter's class. And he taught a very traditional style of yoga. He was very hardcore. I loved it. And I went to his yoga class 3 times a week for 4 years, and they were 2.5 hours long.
Wow.
And I ended
That's
up,
intense.
yeah, they were very long, very intense, and he would stand on you and push you hard, and he was a wackadoodle. And then I did my teacher training with him. It was incredibly extensive. It was a whole summer, every weekend. So I really, really got into yoga, and I'm really glad that I pushed myself through that feeling of panic um, that I had because I just didn't want to sit still, and how I was able to like get my body to adapt. I think my body really needed a place to calm down. So funny enough, I mean, in this style of yoga, it's called Jiva Mukti. It 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 started in New York City, and I was also very fortunate to study for a few years with a woman named Tao,
Mm.
who studied with Iyengar. She was one of the first um, women to study with Iyengar and Baba Joyce in India in the 30s.
Oh,
She
wow.
was 94 when I met her. So she would say, well, Iyengar says to do this, and Iyengar says to do that. And you'd be like, what? You know, what? So it was sort of like learning from the masters. So the local gym asked me to teach yoga, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to hate me. I told the woman, I go, are you sure you want me? Like, oh no. I'm like, they're all old, and they're all retired and old, and oh my God, they're going to hate it. And I had all this, and I go, stop telling the story about how they're going to hate it. And I went in there, and we were just having the biggest love fest of all time.
Yeah.
They're loving it. They don't know that it's hard. They have no idea. They're
Yeah.
doing
They
hard
don't know
stuff. They
anything
don't even
different.
know. No, one woman in there is 87 years old. She's loving it. I mean, they're all loving it. They're like, wow, this is really new and different. We love it. I'm like, so I just went on a big yoga tangent, but you
No,
brought
I
up
mean, I think
yoga.
it's
Yeah,
great.
yoga is so important, and it's a great place for people to let go of their ego, you know.
Oh, yeah. And I think too, like, I'm glad you went on the tangent because what I was thinking when you were saying, when you were talking about this is like that it's a, like, fitness coaches and emotional coaches like myself, I feel like we very much cross the same boundaries with our clients, you know. And when you're doing something like yoga and you're doing something that's physically challenging for yourself, it's like you have to take yourself to another level. You have to push past like what you're you have to be in your mind of like I can do this because my body's going to tell me to quit before my brain does, right?
Yeah,
Because it's or my brain, excuse me, my brain's going to tell me to quit before my body does. That's I reversed it because your body is capable of doing and producing so much more. And I
yes,
think what's interesting is that like I said, like I've worked with so many people that, you know, cross over, and it's sometimes the workouts that bring up some of this stuff that they need to work on. Like because like
yes,
you said, like I think I needed a place to be still. And it's like finding for me that my job is when I get somebody like that, this is I don't know why I can't be still. It's like, okay, well let's find the root of why you can't be still to be able to get you to level up over here physically, right? Like so it's such a cool thing to see just from your perspective of like as I was listening to you going through all these like mental growth periods, right? Like I needed to learn how to be still. I needed to learn how to be strong. I needed to learn how to like fight through the pain of uncomfortableness, and I needed to learn how to you know to get to these different levels where you can show up for these women in a whole other way
yeah,
of saying like for me when I work with my clients I always go I always want you to feel seen, heard, and understood regardless, right? And so when you're sitting there with your client, you can be like, I understand that this is uncomfortable because I have been uncomfortable.
exactly.
And
I've
you're
been there. Yeah,
seeing them in that moment of like, I was you. Like I was the roly poly stay at home mom that
yeah,
you know, using your words. But like I was this person and I'm here to tell you that I have walked this path, right? So
yeah,
and that's what we have to do as coaches is like share that story and share that path with everybody. Which is why, and which is why I created this podcast to begin with. It was because I wanted somebody to connect with your story. If you're sitting at home and you're listening to this and you're like, I am the roly-poly stay-at-home mom,
Yes.
and I'm like 45 years old, how the heck am I supposed to do this? Like, clearly this is this is possible, right?
Oh, it's possible for everyone, no matter what your age. If you're 45, it's going to be easier than if you're 65.
Yeah.
It's just there's no two ways about it. But a thing that's really important to me with my clients is to make them feel like whatever happens is okay.
Yeah.
And so I've sort of taken, I also worked with a dog trainer for 25 years where we worked with, he was a dog rehabilitation specialist, and it all, that and yoga and fitness all comes together. And that I know what goes in must come out. And so I know that moving your body in a certain way is going to make emotional or physical, like the trauma we hold in our bodies, come out.
Yeah.
So I like to tell people, you can cry, you can throw up, you can do whatever you want. You can roll on the ground. I don't care what you do. You can do whatever you want, because what goes in must come out. And if it comes out here, you're safe here. And we're all human beings on this planet going through this crazy journey, and it's all okay.
It's all okay, and
Yeah.
I think there has to be a pain point to leveling up, like yourself.
Yeah.
I tell people, at least in my work, I'm like, it's not that I want you to be in pain. It's just that they're like, growth is painful. Like, it is. And it's not, emotional growth is painful. Physical growth is painful, but it doesn't have to be scary painful. Like, it can
Yeah.
just be like this mountain that you have to climb, this hurdle that you have to get over. And when it's hard, it makes the other side, when you get there, just more rewarding, right? So it's not about like the fact that you're going to use the pain to deter you from doing the thing.
No.
It's about getting to the other side and feeling that sense of relief that you made it, and then you were in a safe space and you were held in that way, like while you were accomplishing this goal, and you're not alone. Like, and I think that that's like, for me and you, like, just from what you're saying, that is literally like, we're very simpatico in that. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, I'm gonna keep you safe while you go through this pain, because
Right.
it's okay. And when you get to the other side, you're gonna have this like sense of like, oh my gosh, I did the thing, and I
Yeah.
was
And
able
there's
to
no
do it.
way around it but through it. And actually, I don't know if you know that I wrote a book.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah.
No.
I wrote a
That's
book.
exciting.
It's called Uncomfortable, and it's about how to get yourself to do uncomfortable things that doesn't feel like you're forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do.
Oh wow.
But how do you do the uncomfortable things? Because you are never going to get, you have to do uncomfortable things.
You had to grow. You have to.
Yeah, in order to grow. If you don't want to grow, then you don't have to. But you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And in the
Yes.
book, a lot I talk about how, like, I'm not sure you're a lot younger than me, but my parents' generation, they did so many uncomfortable things because they
Yeah.
wanted to make a better life for themselves and their children. And we've lost that a little bit. And the things that we're being asked to do that are uncomfortable really aren't that big of a deal. I mean,
Mm-mm.
pick the damn weight up and put it down. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
It's not like
I
my
agree.
grandfather, he was an ice delivery man. So he had to like put those big chunks of ice on those tongs and walk up and down apartments. I'm not asking you to do that. Just do some bicep curls, okay?
Yeah. No, I think that is a very good point to make. Like, I'm younger, but I was able to, have a good relationship with my grandparents,
Oh, that's
while I was
excellent.
growing up. And so I heard these stories, right? Like, my, grandfather on my dad's side, he worked in the factories and things like that. And he worked, and then my aunt at the time would come home, and he would come home and she'd do all the laundry for him and stuff like that. And there was like, he worked I'm surprised he didn't get mesothelioma, to be honest, because he had like the asbestos situation going on. Like, he was doing that. My other grandfather, he was in World War II, and he actually was the first plane into Hiroshima after the bomb to get out the orphans, like to rescue the orphans. He had no
Oh,
idea
talk
all of
about
that
hard
stuff was
stuff.
going. I know that's like hard things,
That's
and like,
hard. I know.
and we're asking people just to stretch, but I, I, think that like, if you want to grow and you want to be like this next level version of yourself.
Yeah.
Obviously, like the way that life is now, there is a lot more convenience, right? Like we have technology, we have like for me to do this interview, 20 years ago, I'd have to drive to North Carolina to go
Right.
see you in person, and we'd have to do a tape recorder, right? Like that's just the way that life is. It's a lot more convenient. But I think that like when you're talking about physical and emotional growth, it can still be so uncomfortable because it's inside of us and we're not seeing it till you see it, right? And
Yeah.
so to me, that's the thing that we can use to compare to those past generations that have been like really trying to endure and to grow and to push and to do everything, because this is our hard. I think that,
Yeah.
with the convenience of all the external, it's the internal growth that we are actually like really focusing on, because we've been denied that growth because of the ease
Right.
of
Life is
comfort.
easier.
Yeah. And
But
I think that
these things,
that's,
yeah, these things are hard though. I mean,
yeah,
women will say, I'll say, okay, let's put it on your back. I'm scared. I go, I get it. It's scary. It's okay to be scared. Doesn't mean we're not going to do it.
yeah. And you
I
can
know
do
all
it.
the things that you do to grow to be a person, a better person, or a better at whatever you're doing is scary. I mean, I've done tons of scary stuff, and of course, I make it look easy because I'm not telling you about all the scary stuff, But
But you've also been doing it for so long, so of
yeah,
course it looks easy. But it gets easier over time, and then you just challenge yourself in different ways. It's just that's just the way that it works.
it
And
is.
I, you know,
Go ahead.
oh god, I
I
was
was
like
just
thinking
gonna
about,
Well, I was thinking about like doing new stuff and new challenges. I have a workout partner. She's really, really strong. We decided to do something new. We started this mobility program. And at first we were like, maybe, oh, we're gonna have to be at the beginner stage for 4 weeks. Oh my God, it's gonna be boring. And literally after the first workout, I'm like, how big was your piece of humble pie? She was like, it was big. Like
yeah,
it's really hard for us. It's totally new. It's totally hard. It's kicking our butts, and it's so good for us.
yeah,
Start
because you get
something. You
used
got
to
that,
doing the same
yeah,
things
you
over
get
and
that
over again.
beginner's mind where you're like, and I think that's another thing with women in fitness. I know it is with weight loss. You think it's a long haul. I have a woman right now. She's lost 45 pounds. She needs to lose probably another 35, 40 pounds. And I told her, you got to give it 2 years to change your body composition. It's going to take you 2 years. Like, if you
Yeah,
think it's going to take you 6 months, you're going to quit. And we don't have this beginner's mind where we understand that things happen little by little by little by little by little. So people look at me and they're like, I can't believe you can do a handstand. I can't believe you can do this thing. I'm like, I've been practicing for 10 years. That's why I can
yeah.
do it. It's just, and I couldn't do it at first. I just do a little bit every day. And I think that's another thing we have to remember is that it's just practice.
Yeah, it's just one step at a time, and becoming it, making it a habit first, because that's the first hurdle I think you have to get over, is like if you've never done anything or you're not doing anything, you got to make it a habit first. And I do that the same thing with my clients when they have to do like meditative practices or like internal work. It's like it's not going to come easy. Like you have to like remember to do it, and
Yeah.
it's okay that it, like if I'm just asking you, hey, do a reflection like once a week. Like I'm not going to ask you to do it every single day right away. It's the same thing. It's like you're not going to have them in the gym every single day, like because they have to grow into it. And it's the same thing with weight loss. Like you cannot think that it's going to magically happen overnight, like a genie's, wish from the lamp. And I think that that's another thing. Like there's so many different body types out there that you can't compare yourself to anybody, because it's like their weight loss journey and your weight loss journey are going to be two different things. Like you may drop 5 pounds right away because you haven't been doing anything, and then the next person standing next to you is only going to drop like 1 or 2, but then you're going to plateau off probably because you that's what happens, and then this person might increase their weight loss, and then it's your turn. Like it's never going to be the exact same as anybody else. And also, you're never going to lose the exact same as anybody else. And you're not going to look the exact same as anybody else. So it's all about, like, not comparing, because we've been taught that as society, as women too, not comparing
Absolutely.
ourselves, not, doing just the cardio death march, like that you've been talking
Exactly.
about,
Yeah.
doing the heavy lifting and challenging ourselves outside of our comfort zones. And also, I feel like stepping out of the comfort zone just makes it more exciting. It just makes it more like, oh, I get to go do something different today. I get to go try something new. And instead of looking at it as hard or difficult or intimidating, even though we were using those words, so apologize. But like, instead of looking at it like that, looking at it as like, I get to do something new, or I get to do something
Right.
exciting.
I get
And
to. Yes.
I get to do it. Like, I don't have to do it. I get to
Right.
do this because I have the body that's going to actually keep me into that shape and push myself a little harder, you know?
Yeah, it just makes you feel so amazing to do something you previously thought was not
Impossible.
attainable for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
climbing the impossible mountain, right?
It
Um, so if you were to leave them with like one thought, right? Like, if you're, first of all, we're going to have them follow you because you're amazing. Like I said, I love watching your videos because I'm like, yes, box jumps. I got to do those. But even if they're small little boxes right now, like,
That's right.
I can't,
Start small.
if you're going to leave them with one thought, like one thing that you want them to take away from me speaking with you today, what would you want them to know?
Well, it sounds really, really cliche.
It's
But
okay. We can be
really, it's
cliche.
just like believe in yourself and you can do it.
Yeah.
Um, and you can read my book because I really break down not how to work out, but how to get in the right mindset, how to be in the right mindset so that you will continue to do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories in the book, um, and all the resources anybody could ever need to get in the best shape of their life and without spending any money. So, but I believe the reason that I believe in everybody is because I've seen so many transformations.
Yeah.
And I know that it's hard to change, but I also know that it's possible. So I have total faith in every single woman that I meet that they can transform if they want to.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that you are probably one of the biggest cheerleader people that I've ever seen online in the fitness space. So like, just, I mean, I follow a lot of fitness coaches, and you're like such a huge cheer, especially for this age group, right? Like that in particular. And she's got the experience, guys. So like, what we'll do is we're going to upload this podcast on YouTube, and we will do your link to your book in the YouTube section, as well as we'll reference it. What was the name of the book again?
Uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable, by
Yes.
Trisha Selbach. It's
Yes.
Selbach is her last
Yes,
name.
ma'am.
And
Yes.
you're on Instagram, correct?
I'm on Instagram. I'm mostly on Facebook and TikTok, though.
What is your handle?
Just my name.
Just your name, Trisha. So it's Trisha.
Yep.
If you guys are not watching our video, Selbach.
Yes.
And she's phenomenal, guys. So you can learn a lot from her. Obviously, don't try to replicate everything she's doing in her videos. Let's do that with caution. Like, we don't want to do a 5-foot box jump right out the gate.
No,
But
don't practice first.
start with the little ones.
Yeah.
But then, you can progress up and you can be this, phenomenal person. And just start with something a little bit harder every single day, right? Like, just
Right.
a little bit more challenging,
Tiny
a
bit.
little bit harder. And you can become that best version of yourself that you're looking for, and
Absolutely.
live a longer, healthier life because of it, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
awesome. Well, I
Well, thank you
appreciate
so much.
you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it, and I got to meet you and learn a lot more about you. So this was a pleasure. So
Say hi to Josh for me.
I will do that. Yes.
Awesome.